What's going on, guys? John with the ProCut, and we're out here today. I've had unwanted guests from time to time on my property, and last Saturday was the final straw. So I finally put up a long-awaited gate. It's been on the to-do list for quite some time, but I finally went ahead and did it. I put a 6x6 post in the ground over here that holds the gate, and then there's a 4x4 in the ground over there where it just closes down onto. I've got some temporary fencing set up over here that I'm going to put I'm going to get another one of those panels. I'm going to put the fencing in over there, and then I've just got some chain link gates over here right now, but I'm going to put actual fencing panel across there as well. So I bought a solar gate opener by Ghost Controls, and this video is going to be how to install that. I did an unboxing video. If you wanted to see that, you can, but I've got the battery set up, the opener, solar panel, and yeah, I'm going to take a look at the instruction manual, and then we'll go ahead and start installing this thing. Give me a thumbs up if you made it this far, and let's get on with the install. Alright guys, now that I got a couple quick little tool unboxing videos out of the way here, we can go ahead and get started on this gate install. So the first thing we're going to do is get our solar panel ready. And the reason I'm doing the solar panel first is just merely to get it out of the way here from the tailgate of my truck. So the first thing you're going to do is get some of your hardware here. You've got a nut and a short bolt. These are going to require a 7/16 millimeter wrench or socket, or one of each. And get your bar, put your bar on there, and then your pieces go in here, and so you can hold a nut on the bottom, and then go ahead and get that nut started on there. And like I said, you've got two of these brackets, so 4 nuts and 4 bolts. And I just dropped one of the nuts, so I'm going to have to find that. But first, we'll go ahead and get this one started. So let me pause you guys. I'll get this on, and then we'll be back. All right, so I've got my bar mounted on the solar panel, and then you're going to mount that so it's facing like this, because you want your angle to go with the sun. And then the next thing is to mount it on your post, and you're going to want to set this facing due south, and you should have an app on your smartphone or a compass, either way, and you're going to set this up to where it's facing due south, and you want to try and have it somewhere wherever you're going to have the clearest view of the sun, so no trees or buildings or anything like that in the way if possible. All right, so over at your post or wherever you're going to be mounting it, I went ahead and pre-started my 2 brackets that are going to hold it. I chose to put mine on the back side of my post, and then obviously I've got a few trees that I'm going to have to clear out of the way here so I don't have a less obstructed view, which is fine because I've got a little clearing to do down here anyway. And then we'll set it to south, which is going to be roughly there. I've just got to check it and then tighten that thing down. So the next thing I'm going to hook up is my control panel, and I'm going to go ahead, there's kind of pre-marked spots in here that you could put your screws through there, and then you'll bring your wiring up into here, and right here you got your positive and negative solar wire. So once I get this over there hooked up, I'll route my wire into here and get it connected. I've got it mounted on my post. I've got it leveled. So you're going to take the cap off of here, then there's a little plug in there. You can take that plug out, and then you can feed your wire up into there, and then tighten it back down, and that locks the wire into place and makes it waterproof. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my wires into this connector here, and I'll show you where we're at after that. All right, now we've got our 2 wires hooked up. I'm not super happy with them, but I didn't have a pair of side cutters down here, so I'm probably going to wind up redoing those. But I did flip the switch on and it beeped, and power status and battery condition light came up. So now I'm going to go ahead and get my battery box and I'm going to mount that. And then the next step, once you get your control box and your battery box mounted, take your batteries and then slide these little white clips off, and then you can go ahead and hook up your wires, red to red, black to black, and get both of your batteries installed. And as soon as I get this set in there, I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so I've got my battery box mounted below my control box. The 2 batteries are in, the wires are hooked up, so now we can go ahead and slide the cover back over top of that, and then you can put a lock on it just to keep the honest people out. And then you're going to bring this wire up into this box and connect to these wires. Alright, I took these wires back off because I needed to run my battery wire in through the same hole as the solar wire, and I brought some side cutters down, cut these wires down. I can hook them back up, and then my battery wires can get hooked up as well, and then I can get ready to mount my control arm actuator. Now, to mount your bracket, you're going to mark a line center of your bar, and then it needs to be at least 4 inches over from center point to there. And then you're going to drill yourself some 3/8 holes all the way through your post for your through bolts. And then I'm guessing you probably need a hammer to send these things through, because 3/8 is a little tight, but it should be good. So I'm going to get a hammer and send these through, and then we could put the washers and nuts on the other side. Alright, I got rained out yesterday, but I'm back down here now, and it's a 5/8 on the bolt side. I just used my power drill to put them in, and then the nut is going to be an 11/16. So we're going to get these nuts on and tighten them down, and then move on to the next step of the job. Alright, so this next step, you're going to get these nuts and bolts and washers and spacers, and it'll be a spacer, your arm, or rather a washer, your arm, a spacer, arm, and then washer and nut underneath. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Go ahead and stick this in here, put that through, and then your washer and nut on the bottom. And then these are the same as these through bolts here, so they're going to be 11/16 on the bottom and 5/8 on the top. So I just got my 5/8 on here, and I'm going to hold the bottom with my channel locks. Alright. Now with that together, we can go ahead and move on to the next portion. Alright, so the next phase is going to be to hook up your control actuator. And you've got this pin with a little spacer, so you're going to put the actuator in, and then the little spacer goes underneath of here, which looks like I'm going to have to loosen this one up because it moved itself a little bit tighter than it needs to be. Stand by. Now I loosened this first one up a little bit, so these arms opened up a smidge. So now I'll be able to fit the little spacer underneath it here. Spacer, or plastic bushing, whatever you want to call it. At any rate, it's in there, and then we just move that around until you can get it through, and then put the other pin in. And now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this back down. And the next step is wiring up your actuator. Now it's important to note that it says do not cut or splice or extend this harness at all, or you'll void the warranty. So I've taken out my adapter here, put the cap on, slid this through. Now we can go ahead and put this into the box. And get it tightened down and tighten up the waterproof cap and everything. And I've got it all tightened up. So now we can hook these wires up, and it's going to be the first operator. You got red, black, green, and white. So just put the right color to the right color and hook those in, and then you're ready to move on to the next step. Alright, so I figure I'll show you one of these. I've loosened this screw out, and then you slide the wire in and then tighten the screw back up. And now all those wires are into place. So I've loosened this to scooch that down some. So I'm going to tighten this back up. Now with those connected, we can go ahead and hook up our battery wires. It's important to note that the box is still turned off. Alright, so now those are hooked up, and just kind of tuck them to the side. Alright, now we can move on to the next step. Alright, so the next step is turn on the box. There's a switch underneath, and then get your remote, and it says press the button to move the arm out a little bit. And then press the button again to stop it, and then press it again to move it in until it stops on its own. Okay, now we're ready to move on to the next step. So the arm has a fixed internal stop, so when it's retracted all the way back, that's where you want to mount your gate to be fully opened. And so the next part to that is getting your gate mounting bracket ready. So you're going to put these two tube holders on here. That's if you're using, the bar gate. If you've got a solid gate or something, then you would through bolt this right onto that gate, I suppose. So I'm going to go ahead and get these on, and all this hardware for this is all 1/2 inch. Nuts and bolts are all 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and get this pre-assembled, and then we can move back over to the gate. Alright, so just like the other end, except this pin is the shorter of the two pins, you'll have this and your little nylon bushing on the bottom side of it. And then go ahead and work this thing through and get everything lined up. And again, put your pin in. Now this is ready to go onto this gate. So move the gate to where you want it to be when it's fully open. And then go ahead and get that through there. And then we're going to get our bolts to put on the other side. Now this is bolted on tight, so we can move on to our next step. So if you're using AC power, plug it in, blah blah blah. If you're using solar, hook that up. So we've already got that much done. So Okay, so now with the gate open and the box turned on, you're going to press and hold the jog close button until the gate reaches your desired closed position. Use both the jog open and jog close as needed to fine tune your desired position. All right, so you come over here and you can see you've got your limit switches up here. So we're going to use the jog close, and it's going to beep, and then it'll start to close. And you're just going to hold that until it gets to the point you need it. And then if you got to adjust it a little bit from there, you can use the other button. Okay, so a little bit more. A little bit more. Perfect. All right, that's exactly where we want it. So now to the next step. Now that you have your position set, you can press and hold the first set button until it beeps, then release. Press your remote transmitter button to activate the gate and let the gate fully open. When the gate reaches its open position, the control board will sound a single beep, confirming the closed limit has been set. Not hearing the beep. Okay, so you press and hold till it beeps, and then press your remote, and then it's going to open. And then once it gets fully opened, it should beep, and then that means you're good to go. All right. So then that's set up, so you should be able to press your remote button to go ahead and close it. And then it's showing you for a dual setup, which we don't have that. And then there's an auto close time feature. If you wanted to use that, you could. Say you were gonna, leave your gate open all day and then just have it close at night, which we're not doing that because we put our gate up to stop unwanted traffic onto our property. So that's it. Job done. If you have any questions, post up in the comments. I'll try to do my best to help you out. And otherwise, give this video a like if you haven't already. And subscribe. We appreciate you. All right, quick follow-up. So I thought this was smartphone enabled included, but it's not. You need to buy this Ghost Multi-Connect, which is sold separately for your smart port, and plug that in, hook that up. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and buy one of those because my wife and I both need a remote, and it only came with one remote. So what I'm gonna do is hook up a smartphone adapter instead, and then also added the sign to the gate for people to steer clear and whatnot. So now we're done. Thanks again. All right, guys, now instead of needing to buy that smartphone adapter or another remote switch, I just remembered my 21 Ram has HomeLink buttons on the visor, and so I just programmed them. So the program, at least in the Ram, could be different in other vehicles, but you're going to hold the two outside buttons down and the light will come on, and then it'll start flashing fast, and then you can let them go. Now that means you cleared out all your switches, and then you'll take your gate opener and you'll press the one that opens the gate and whichever HomeLink button you want to connect that to. You'll press them both at the same time, and then just keep them held down. You'll notice that the light will change a few times and then it'll go off. So you just hold it down for a while until the light goes through some different cycles, and then you can let it go. And so now my HomeLink button is attached to the gate, so I can put this remote in my wife's car, and I'm pretty sure she's got HomeLink too, so I can get her HomeLink set up, and then we have the extra remote that we could give to a family member or a friend in the event that they were watching the property or something. So hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thanks again. See you on the next one.